Huh? What? Yes, Beanard, I'm doing it now. Yes, I know. I'll tell them. Hi, I'm Anna, and I'm super pleased to meet you. And so is Beanard. We love making new friends. Please, tell us more about yourself. Oh, wait. I'm supposed to be talking about me. I was raised by my parents, along with my brother, in the Antarac Mountains. My mom worked as a pest control caravan guard, and my dad was as sweet as honey beekeeper. Match made in heaven, am I right? It was from my dad that I got my love of nature and an affinity for all things small and crawly and buzzy and stingy and poisonous. He taught me how to harness my innate magical bug abilities. Let's see, what did I get from my mom? Oh, I know. And from my mom, I got a pointy knife once. I learned the hard way which end is the sharp one. And that's why I carry a staff now. No confusion. Shh, yes, Beanard, I'm getting to that. Now, I want to tell you about how I met my best friend in the whole wide world, Beanard. Years ago, my dad had tried to make a hardier breed of honeybee with a longer lifespan by mixing their makeup with the dire wasp. The queen died, but not before giving birth to one special batch. I watched over her eggs for days, patiently awaiting for my new friends to grow. Then one day, there was movement in the egg cell from just one egg. The determined larva wriggled and sprang forth, but it wasn't a larva at all. It was a fat, fuzzy bee with a hell of a business end that would have made my mom proud. And then that bee used it, over and over, stabbing all of its brethren's eggs until only it remained. And then it flew on top of my head and stayed there for 4 days straight. I had just become his best friend and confidant. He loved me so much. Dad says he held me hostage, but I know better. Isn't that right, Beanard? Some people might brush me off because they think I'm small, weak, or weird. That's fine by me. Go ahead. Underestimate the Verdant with a song in her heart and spiders in her pockets. I know firsthand that sometimes it's the small things in life that pack a punch.
At first glance, one might not expect much from me. Dark robes and a deep hood hiding my pale hair and elven features. Once a member of the Sormesh Academy, I, Theioryn, along with my friend Kovar, spent much of our days living the academic life under the tutelage of Master Lorig. Our purpose was to study the cataclysm and to identify dangers of the magics brought with it. We were young and curious, many times Morg having to reel in our determination to keep us from harming ourselves. I did my best to heed her warnings. Kovar, however, always laughed and brushed them off. Those days were peaceful, but then everything changed. It was supposed to be like any other expedition to the Deshkish forest. Gather samples, take readings, and return to evaluate the data. This time, however, disaster found us. Kovar, being brazen once again, came into contact with Amos, the White Lion, an entity of unknown origin. The being merged with Kovar, and he immediately fell to its influence. Emanating with strength, their joined gaze turned upon our group. I watched helplessly as my master and colleagues were slain. Kovar's new powers granted by the lion were terrifying. The reality of this nightmare truly settled in when they turned their attention towards me, sending me into the river below. As I drifted to the water, wounded and dying, my hatred began to burn at what Kovar had done and my own inability to stop it. Why had he not heeded our master's warning? Had it used him? Or was this Kovar all along? Slowly these thoughts quieted, and the fear of my coming death began to rise. And then Riem intervened. Appearing as a black unicorn burning in chains, she pulled me into her domain. She offered to join her power with mine and spare me of my dismal fate. The only thing she asked was for to hunt down and destroy the White Lion Amos. I thought of my master's face as she died at the hands of her own student. Her teachings and warnings filtered through my brain, but my hatred had begun to burn again. When given the chance, how could I refuse?
Greetings, the name is Zugink. Do not worry about hiding your confusion. I have become quite accustomed to the inquiry of how a bugbear is so finely dressed and mannered. I deeply regret that I can not start from the beginning, as I cannot recall most of my childhood. I do know that fate led me to Ithamir. My initial impressions of the city were adequate for my conditions at the time. My atrocious manners definitively devastated any connections I attempted. I was able to acquire odd jobs around town. Strength is always needed somewhere. During one of these jobs, Captain Dahmir happened to see one of my displays of strength and approached me about joining the city guard. In retrospect, I did not realize the opportunity for what it was. I merely accepted it as just another job. Though my fellow guards and Captain Dahmir's superiors were hesitant to accept my presence, my strength and loyalty earned me respect. Captain Dahmir made sure I quickly became well acquainted with proper manners, as I was working with noble merchants on the docks. After many years, my squadron became my family, and I was accepted fully in their minds and hearts. Fate had been kind to me for quite some time, but fate can be a fickle thing. My shift had barely begun when chaos broke out on the docks. I still do not know what started it. We quickly tried to bring order. However, we were not prepared to deal with a sorcerer who could not control their magic. We had seen wild magic before, but I cannot find the courage to go into detail. My legs were broken. One of my trusted friends pulled me away from the chaos. His last words were, "Everything will be okay. You're not allowed to die on us," before he ran back into the fray. I was the only member of my squadron to make it out alive. It took some time for my wounds to recover, though after that day I could not bear to stay on the docks where my family died. I wrote up an official resignation, which my superiors were saddened to receive, but allowed my leave regardless. Now I journey to find a new purpose, and if fate wills it, a new family.
Once upon a time, there was a little boy. One day, this little boy lost his family and was saved by some Fae folk. He spent his childhood in the Fae, becoming familiar with all the creatures within. Unfortunately, humans aren't supposed to stay in the Fae for a long time, because reasons. When that boy became a much bigger boy, he was forced to return to his world. His Fae home behind him, he searches for a place he belongs. By the way, that boy is me. Hi, I'm Kay, the Fae Boy.